Hi, this is Trevor Conquergood. Welcome to this week's RNK Software Club's video of the week. And this week we're going to create this interesting little design of a flower made from hearts. And so there's lots of things we can learn in the process of making this design. And so I'm just going to click on my workspace. Now this is the photograph of the finished embroidery. Let's go over here. This is the design that I made. Now, essentially I started with a simple heart shape, and we all have a heart shape in the software. You can just scroll through the custom shapes library until you find hearts. Now, you might notice that I've got heart number 5, but that one's one that I actually made and saved myself. I think heart number 4 is one that everybody has, and so why don't we start right from the beginning? And so you would have a big heart like this. Now, before I sort of turned it into this flower, what I did was I created a heart that had kind of like an outside and an inside boundary. And I also think I kind of reshaped the heart a little bit to just give it a little bit sort of different appearance. And so let's start with that. To change the appearance of the original heart, I clicked on the shape tool. And what I did was I right-clicked over top of the pink line and said add another point. And then I just kind of moved it in just a little touch like that. See how it kind of makes that line curved? And I'll do the same on the opposite side, kind of right in the same place. Right-click, add a point, and then click on that point and adjust it by clicking and dragging to move it a little bit. Oh, now it looks like see what I did? I ended up adding 2 points there, and so that doesn't look nearly as nice as the other side. So here, let's just use our undo tool and kind of go back until there's no point along that side. Right click over top, add a point, and then click and drag to move was what I was trying to do, I think, and somehow I managed to add another point. So there you can see I just kind of like slightly altered the shape. Now, to give it an inside boundary, what I actually did was just made a second copy of the heart. So you can have 2 copies, and you want to make sort of the second one smaller than the first one. And I don't know if there's a correct amount of, I guess the more smaller you make the first one or bigger you make either one, what happens is I'm just going to basically layer them on top of each other. So probably the easiest way to do that is to use my alignment tool. I've selected both hearts. I'll tell the alignment tool to align those 2 objects to each other. So that'll put the small heart, you can't really see it because it's the same color as the heart that's underneath it. But when I click on the combine tool, so that's up here on my workspace, it's the little paper clip. It shows over top of a square. And when you click on that, it'll combine those 2 hearts. And so now you kind of get the picture that we were trying to create a heart that had an outside boundary and an inside boundary, and it's the purple area that we're going to fill with the stitching. So why don't we try to make this heart approximately the same size as the hearts are in our little flower over here, something approximately like that. Here, let's just rotate this by 90 and check it out and say, so it's pretty close. Let's see, zoom in a little closer, maybe still a little bit larger. So it was a design something along these lines. Now, once you make a little heart like this, if you really love it, what you might want to do is save it. If that's a heart that you're going to use again, how did I get my heart inside my custom shape library? Well, I went to the Tools drop-down menu where it says Save Custom Shape. And that knows right where to save it. Now, I knew I already had hearts, so I scrolled down to find all the hearts. And then once I found the hearts, I saw that there was heart 4, 5, 6. And so we'll just click on heart 6 and then kind of add down at the bottom to make this be heart number 7. So now I've got another heart in my collection, and you can make them as many, custom shapes as you like in your little custom shapes gallery. Anyway, that's how I started out this whole flower, was by making myself a new little heart shape like such. Now, you take said heart shape and you want to convert it into embroidery, and what I chose was a satin stitch. Now, you can either auto satin it or you can do the satin yourself. So auto satin will let the software put the stitches for you. Sometimes it's perfect, and sometimes you're like, well, I'm not sure I wanted the stitching to go like a different way. and the software has interpreted it differently than I imagined. So here, I'm just going to click undo to basically go back to a piece of artwork again and show you that if I don't choose auto satin and I click on the Satin tool, so that's down at the bottom but more to the left, it waits for me to draw the inclinations. And so I can say, well, I was thinking of an inclination that went straight up and down there and then kind of went around the shape like this. And so I'm showing the software every one of these little yellow lines is a stitch direction. And so we can predict at this point in the design, this is the stitch direction that my design will have. And you can add as many as you want, balance them, whatever you want. There's no correct way to have them, but when you're done drawing them, you right click. And now the software allows you to interact with that green start point and the red exit point. And so I just made them be the same point. And then I right click and that's it. I've made my heart with a satin embroidery and it kind of sews, I guess, a little bit more like what I wanted it to. So now I've got this little heart. Now we're going to turn it into the flower. So to do that, I used our circle template. And the circle template starts out with kind of like the default settings will be basically 100 or 4 inches. Really depends on how you have your ruler set as to which way those numbers go. But so mine, I'm obviously going to make it smaller. And I'm also going to have to rotate the hearts around, right? Now see how I can press on this button here and rotate the hearts around the circle. And so I remember I just set it to 90. For the angle of the hearts, and then I made the size probably somewhere around 60, just over 2 inches. I can make it until they're absolutely touching each other, so just keep making this size kind of smaller. 55. See how I've got it now where all these hearts connect to each other? So that's really what I had in mind. I say okay, and we've created this cool little sort of like flower shape made from heart petals or heart shapes. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is what we just created and how it sews out, because if I turn off the 3D, you might notice some dotted lines here. I also have needle points turned on. Can you see the dotted lines? Remember I made my heart start and stop in the center there? Well, that was great when there was just one heart, but now that we've got, what is 6 hearts in a circle shape, it's more logical to make the hearts connect to each other and not need to tie off and tie in each time. So the easy way to do that, because all of these hearts are essentially already touching each other, is just, well, first of all, select them all. So I draw a box with my select tool to select all of those purple hearts. And then the tool that we want to use is right here. It's called Optimize Entry and Exit Point. So we'll click on that. And what it does is it teaches the first heart where to finish so that it will connect to the second heart. So there's the first heart. It still started where I started, but it's changed its exit point to be there. And that's because now the next heart will start on the left and finish on the right and connect and connect and connect. So that was a helpful tip. Now, we're almost there, except for I put an outline around it and I put a cool center on the inside. So to do that, I used another tool, and that one is called the contour tool. So that's right here. And the reason I like the contour tool is I can make it go to both the inside and the outside. So it's going to add an extra shape around. Essentially, it's going to go around all of our little hearts here. And so I'm going to have one ripple at approximately 3 millimeter spacing to both sides, and I say okay. So it makes all those little shapes. Now, I just want to go in and study what it made. It's this final kind of color of the design here, and there's more than one piece. And so we kind of need to look at that because what it really tried to do was, and in fact, you can see that not only is there an outline around all the hearts and an inside outline around all the hearts, it's also tried to outline around each individual heart shape. So I don't want those ones, and it looks like they're all grouped together down here. So what we can do is select that green artwork and use the break apart tool up top here to separate them. See, now when I look, I can see, oh, that's what it is, right? There's this heart these are those ones that go around the inside, and I didn't want all of those ones, and so I can simply select them all and click delete. And there's still one more here that's kind of the funny ones, and I'll just click on that and delete. And so what I left in I didn't delete was the two shapes that I really wanted, which was this one here and that one on the outside. Now what I did was I just used kind of decorative run stitches. You could use our new right click and do the new back stitch, which is one of our new sort of decorative stitches, or just a bean stitch would be cool, even just a straight run stitch. On the inside, you have a single shape, and if you noticed, I had put an outline and a motif fill on it. So what we'll do is we'll use the copy tool to make a copy and a paste. So we have two shapes there at the end that have that same shape. And we'll make the first one be the motif fill. And I remember using pattern number 215. So you just kind of scroll through all your patterns and choose the one that you like the best. And it was at a size of about 5 millimeters. And so you get kind of a cool little, oh, that's not 215, that's 209. Oh yeah, 215. No, so what did I use? Because that's not what it was. Select it over here to check it. It was 213. Oh, I came close, but not quite. I guess I should just use my eyes to pick it. There you go. And at a size of 5. So you can see how I kind of built it. Now, we're almost there. A few things to clean up, all right? So first of all, I've got this motif fill, then I've got the outline around the outside, and then I've got another copy of the artwork of the motif fill. That was supposed to be like an outline to go around it all, and so I'm going to use that to also be the back stitch. Okay, so now I've got some sequencing to take care of. So it does the purple hearts, and they're all kind of nicely in order. Then it does the motif fill. So probably we want to do the outline around the motif fill next. And then we can do the outline around the star kind of later. And so I want you to see what's happened here. So we're going to do the motif fill first. And the motif fill is set to end right up here at the top. And so when you look at the next run line that we did, that's like the back stitch line, if we check, it's set to start and stop over here. So there's a jump that comes from up here, jump, jump, jump down here. So I have to move these entry and exit points so they line up. That way we can avoid having any jump after the motif fill before it does the motif outline. Now, the last thing I'm going to do is select all of the segments that I've made so far, from the first purple one to the last green one, and just make them all be the same purple color so that there's no color stops in there. So you can see it gets to the end of the last heart. It'll jump to get to the motif fill, does the whole motif fill. After the motif fill, it jumps to get to the outline around the little, the outline of the whole flower. Now, let's select that outline and move its exit point, the red point, to be down here. In fact, we'll move the green and the red to be the same point right there. And that's because that will line up with the last piece of the design, which was the little stem that we made. And so to do the stem, I just used our basic kind of like rectangle tool and made sort of like a rectangular shape to represent that stem. And then before I stitched it, I kind of clicked on the shape tool so that I could move the points on the top side to be kind of more narrow and just give it, more of an appearance of a stem. So again, what have I drawn but a little kind of piece of artwork? It was a rectangle. Now I guess it's some kind of a, what do you call that, a trapezoid or something. But anyway, it's a stem, and you click on it and you can choose auto satin, or just like I said before, choose the satin tool, tell it that this is going to be the stitch direction of the stitches, right click, set your entry point and your exit point to wherever you want them to be, and right click, and you'll have made your stitches. And so that's how I made the cool little design. It started out as a single heart, and we did all kinds of steps. So I hope you enjoyed the video. And until next week, have a great day. Thank you so much for listening, and bye for now.